Hi, this is Suzanne Kreider with themindtolead.com. This is the fourth video in our series called How 7 Leaders Stopped Making 7 Brain-Based Mistakes During Accountability Conversations. Mistake number 4, failure to modulate the fight or flight mechanism. The fight or flight response in the brain comes from the middle layer of the brain. It's where the limbic system or emotional center of the brain is located. Everybody knows about that. That's the part of the brain that slams on the brake so that you avert an accident. It's very helpful in situations like that. The problem is, in our day-to-day work experience, it's over-responding to things that really aren't that much of a threat. It's the part of the brain that creates this experience of anxiety. Let me tell you about one of my clients. His name was Dick. He worked for the federal government at a very high level. He was very well known, and he loved to do public speaking. So he would go out and do a lot of talks for free. It was related to his work, but it really wasn't getting his strategic plan accomplished. He could get away with this when he was younger, but as he moved into middle age, he came to me and said, I really need to learn how to modulate my anxiety about saying no, because I'm afraid that people won't like me or it'll give our department a bad name. So what we had to do was help him realize that the costs were he was unable to say no. He took on too many projects that weren't really related to his strategic plan, but the biggest problem was he couldn't trust himself. He couldn't control his behavior. He really couldn't take care of himself by saying no in a gracious way. So the root of the problem was we had to learn how to help him override that natural fight or flight mechanism. And we did that in a really simple way. So the solution was, let me give you an example of a story. So he had a colleague who worked outside the government, but they worked on a lot of national initiatives in their field. And he had a colleague named Gina who would always come to him and say, oh, Dick, you've got to help us. You're the only person. You're so high level. You're so seen. You know, we really need you on this project. And he would always say yes, even though he wanted to say no. So what I helped him do was break down the steps of these conversations he would have with people and to practice it with Gina. And he was incredibly successful the first time. So the steps of his solution were to have a really clear goal. And his goal was he wanted to be able to say no in a gracious way and maintain their professional relationship. Number 2 was the key for Dick was to be able to, what I call, get comfortable with discomfort. So for him to slow down the conversation, to know exactly what he was going to say, I'm sorry, Gina, I cannot get involved in this project, and then to pause. So what happens is, usually when we get anxious, we feel driven to fill in that blank for people. What we've got to do is give them enough time to hear our statement, to let it land, so to speak, and then to be okay with their discomfort. So that's all Dick had to do, is he had to make a statement, pause, notice his own discomfort while he was waiting to see how she would respond. Luckily, because he stayed confident, he didn't jump in and try to change his mind or offer to help her out. She realized that he was just setting a really good boundary. She respected that, and they maintained a good professional relationship. So the main points here are to notice when you're getting drawn into that discomfort and to become okay with the discomfort. There are practical mindfulness tools that can help you actually notice and be aware of your discomfort. And a lot of times what that'll do is soften the discomfort so we're not so reactive. Also remember to pause and let your statement land. Just notice your reaction. Even if the other person is uncomfortable with what you've said, just sit and pause and be with it. Thanks so much.